Hello, Mr. Head here. Today is Sunday, September 15th, 2019. I'm up at the Abbey right now and I'm fixing to hit the road. I got a call last night, right around dark, saying these people had cut down a tree and there were bees in it. They didn't know there were bees in it. When it hit the ground, bees just come flying out of the tree. So with the tree down on the ground, there really isn't a lot of time that you can have to lollygag around. So you really got to get on these things right around, particularly right now. Here at the end of September, the beetles, it's just like terrible right now. You give it any time, those beetles will start hatching. As soon as that tree hit the ground, that comb broke loose, the honey started running, the comb is wet, and truthfully, I don't know what I'm going to find when I go up there, but I can tell you one thing. When I get up there, I'm not going empty-handed. That's right. And if I got this in my hand, you know there's trouble brewing. So I'm headed up to Madisonville. It's about 9 miles away from here. Find out what we got going. See if we can rescue these bees here on Sunday morning. Grace of God, we'll get those bees saved, move them up here to the Abbey. I think it's time to wrangle. And this is what we're looking at. You can see the bees. As I'm going up this crack, at this point right here, there doesn't seem to be any more bees, so I'm going to make my cut on the tree at this point right here, and then I'll make it all the way back down to this point because I don't see any comb in here, and I like to not hit any comb. Looks like I'll be able to split this pretty easily. The bees don't seem to be too upset right now. Alright, let's break out that bad boy chainsaw and see if we can cut this tree. There she is, in all her glory. Boy, there is very, very little honey stores in this at all. I don't know what's on the back side of this. I'm going to find out as we go into it. I'm going to set up the bee vac, start vacuuming bees. This is where my concern is, at this end, where the bees can run down here. But I do have my honey robber. If they do get in there, I can chase them out. And that is a dead end, but I still can chase them out. All right, let's go set up the bee vac and start vacuuming up some bees, cutting out some comb. Was I ever wrong when I said, well, I don't think there's much honey in this thing? Oh my goodness, there is honey everywhere. I mean, loads and loads and loads and loads. And lots of bees as well. I just want to give you a shot as to where we are, where I am right now as far as the removal. There's still lots of comb in there and lots of bees. Separating the brood comb from the honeycomb, but there's a lot more honeycomb. In fact, that chest, got some bees that need to get vacuumed up. That chest is already plumb full. All right, let's get back to it, huh? Almost all of that comb is out of here now. I tell you what, getting this comb out of this tree is no easy task. It's not like cutting it from the inside of a joist or sheetrock. We have nice smooth edges. There is just every place for them to attach that comb, and they do. It's just, oh my goodness, it is difficult. The sun's beating right down on it, and as old as this comb is, at least a year old, it's still soft as can be just from the heat of the sun melting on it, getting to soften up. Well, I'm not real happy about having to start up that chainsaw again, but I really don't have a choice. Now that I saw now, because the angle is so bad, I didn't see it. There's a big piece of comb still in here. So I'm going to have to quarter this log one more time and split this top piece off and get to our bees, because we still have a lot of them down here. Well, I think there are a few bees still in there. Oh my word. You get the vacuum, start vacuuming these girls up real quick. Look at the comb too. Whew. Wow. Look at that, folks. Oh yeah. Thank you, Jesus. That is great. I'm gonna go ahead and finish vacuuming up these bees, finish cutting out the comb. But we got us our queen. Man, awesome sauce for sure. Thank you, Jesus. Well, folks, thankfully, it's not there anymore. Oh my goodness. What an ordeal this one was. And how blessed it was to find that queen. There's just so many places for her to go to. But she went to the cage. So I'm going to do one more little vacuum. Show you the bees, queen. And we're going to get this thing loaded up into the truck. Head up to the Abbey. I realized on the way back up to the Abbey that I really didn't explain what my plan was to do with the comb, because the honeycomb was just so wet and soft. There's no way I could use it because the sun was just beating down on it. So I did manage to frame 4 frames of brood up, at least to give them something from their old comb. And then I used some old, well, it was just this year's honeycombs that had some brood laid in it. Then on the fourth frame of brood that I framed up, I put our queen up inside of here. So she's up in the cage. Got some brood in here for them to go on back onto their comb, and 6 empty drawn out frames. Now I'm going to be feeding these girls. I'll squeeze all the honey and I'll start feeding them from a jar, not internally, and start feeding them. So that's my plan. Got 4 frames of brood, the queen, and I'll turn her loose at least 2 days from now. I am not turning this queen loose right away because I want to make sure these bees stay in here, clean up the little bit of wet that's on this brood frames, and then start working this comb. So here's a picture of what I got to go through today. Get this stuff squeezed out. It is probably about 50-60 pounds of honey and wax. And I'll show you what it looks like after I get it all squeezed. So because all the comb yesterday was really just too soft to do anything with, and it was just breaking apart, honey was going everywhere, there's no way I'm going to put that into the hive with the bees. So what I do is I just use a big old colander right here, a really big one, and I don't squeeze the honey. All I do is I just use my thumb and I break it apart just to break the cells open, and then I let it sit in here overnight, and by tomorrow morning all this colander, it'll be full of the wax that I've got, and the honey will have drained from all the comb into the bottom. It's a pretty easy way to do it, and all this honey that I get, I'll then be able to give back to the bees, but of course I'll be doing it through a bottle. I have to press this comb really into that ice chest to get it on. There was just so much honey in that tree. Yeah, and I use my gloves because there are some dead bees in here, and dead bees sting too. And with the gloves on, you don't even have to worry about that. You just keep on squeezing and grabbing the next one. Pretty easy how to do it. I'll show you tomorrow. I'll show you all the honey that came from this. Like I said, I have a really big colander, and when they get the wax all squeezed out, that's what it looks like. So it'll sit here for overnight, about 24 hours, and tomorrow I'll take this, and just like the ice chest that all this was sitting in before, it'll go on the back porch, and the bees will clean it up. And you've really got to work fast with this stuff, because in 2 days, this thing will be full of maggots. Because there's plenty of beetles that were in there, but we've got it already taken care of, and we don't have to worry about that problem. It's been 24 hours since I squeezed all this honey, or broke it up, and as you can tell, there's very little moisture, all very, very dry. That honey, it's hard to believe, but that honey will find its way out of there, go through all that comb, and make its way to the bottom. And let me show you what we have as a result of squeezing all this honey. Wow. And there it is. Really nice looking stuff. Very nice. All right. We got to taste this stuff. We got to taste it. Ooh. Too bad the bees are going to get all that instead of me. Wow, that's very good. Good flavor. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put some of this stuff in a bottle. And I'll show you how I make the bottle that I feed the bees with, punching the holes in the lid and showing that stuff. Now I already started feeding the bees outside. When I set up the hive the first day, I put a quart of honey on them that first day, which is now, it's been a day and a half that I put it on there. But I really want to put 2 bottles on there. And so I had one that already had holes, so now I'm going to go ahead and show you how I take my lids and make holes in them to make these things feeders for our bees, because I only feed my bees internally, and I found that using these jars is the best way for me to do it. So what I use is a really small screw with at least a tip. It's very, very fine. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take that tip of that screw, place it on my lid on this side of it, and punch holes in it so that when I flip it over, the honey will then flow through that and into the area where the bees are underneath it. So now I'm just going to go ahead and take my screw. I got a piece of wood that I'm hammering into. And I didn't have my hammer. It's in the truck, so I use this nice pliers right here. And just hit it 2 times. And then I just go around the lid. There it is. You can see where it's punctured through. And that'll be enough holes for it. So we're going to go outside right now, and we're going to turn our queen loose, and I'll show you the bees that are inside of the box. I've emptied all that honey that was in that number 3 tub into one of my drain buckets, and as you can tell, it's probably got 2 gallons of honey in there that we pulled out of all that comb. So I'm going to put all that comb outside, let the bees start feeding on it, and you know I'll give you a shot of that, huh? So let's go outside and take care of that queen. Now this is the setup after I've released the bees from the bee vac. Now this box right here is just a cover box that I've got my honey jar is inside of. Got my inner cover right here that it's sitting on, then all the bees. So what I'm going to do is I'll take the cover off, take the bottle of honey off, remove this, open, take the inner cover off right here, and then pull out the queen cage and then turn the queen loose. But I think I'll show you the bees before I turn the queen loose. So they've eaten just a little bit, not too much honey. They're all right here up on the top though. Alright. So when I put the bees in here, because I didn't use but 4 of their pieces of comb from that hive, that's one of the reasons why I caged the queen, because I wanted to give them something familiar in the box. Because that comb was all wet, I just used old brood comb that I had. It was actually honeycomb that the queen had laid in, so I put that in there. I've got 6 frames of that and 4 frames of their brood comb in there. So and then I strapped her to one of those frames. So my hope is that by feeding them, they'll want to stay. By caging her up, they won't leave, or she won't leave. And by caging her up for 48 hours, there's a greater likelihood of the bees calling this home. So let's open it up and see what we look like underneath here. Wow. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 frames of bees in here. In fact, let me get the camera so you can see for yourself. It's a lot of bees, a lot of bees. Now you can see for yourself. Look at the bees in here. My goodness. So they're working this comb, which is what I want. And then once I take the queen out, and I believe she's in this frame right here, take her out, release her, and I'm just going to drop her in the bottom and put this stuff all back together. Now I'm going to take out this outside frame over here just to give me a little bit of wiggle room in here, because I don't want anything to happen to our queen. And as you can see, this frame's got very few bees on it, but this is the outside frame. Yeah, they're working this stuff really nice. Oh, that's what you want to see. Bees covering the frame, cleaning it up, getting it ready. And there's our queen cage, the next frame over. Yeah, and as you would expect, this frame is definitely covered with bees. So let's pull our queen from the cage. I'm going to drop this frame in there right now. Just want to make sure she's still here. Yeah, she's still here. All right, let me go up to the camera and show you. She's still in here. There she is. She's still in our cage. I'm going to go ahead and turn her loose right now. I want to keep an eye on her so I can see her when she comes out the cage. There she goes. She's right here on the top, right here. And she's just going down on the inside. So perfect, perfect, perfect. Everything is set up. These bees are doing good. They got food. The queen's in there with them. All I got to do is cut me another inner cover and get these girls some more food. All right, let's head back up to Madisonville right now. Well, got the homeowner here, Rodney, and today was a real experience from him, huh?
Yeah, very much so. Amazing. Very much so amazing.
So you think you want to do bee wrangling?
No, I don't want to do that. That's too much. It is a job by itself. But to see the reward at the end was a pleasant surprise.
Yep, catching the queen, getting the bees. Rodney got a bunch of honey. We got a bunch of honey, probably about 60, 70 pounds. He got about 10 pounds, 15 pounds. It's a good day of wrangling. So that's all I got for you today.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Keep on watching. I'll be making more. God bless. Mr. Ed, I'm out of here until the next video. Check this out, folks. We got us a Cajun beekeeper pirogue right here. All I gotta do is knock off a few more ends of this, put a point on it, and I can go walking into, and I can go paddling in the bayou. Woo-wee! Oh yeah, Cher. Now you didn't think for a minute I wasn't gonna show you the bees feeding on the honey. This is all the wax that was taken from that tree, and not tomorrow, but probably the day after, all this stuff is going into the melter before any maggots can form on it. We'll get the bees to clean up all this stuff and get some nice wax out of it. Man, what a sound and sight. Thank you, Jesus.